Why don't you show the people how you do the Tarzan trick? And give the Tarzan yell. Give the Tarzan yell. This is what you call pure affection on both sides.
John, can this cat really meow in 3 languages like you
goodness,
said?
Yes.
Can you prove that?
Why, sure. You tell her something in French and say it nice and long for her. Oh, no, that was German.
If that's French, I'm German.
Now you show them how they hiss in German again. Now hiss for them. That's my boy.
Unbelievable. How did you teach this cat to do that?
Oh, I wouldn't tell you. Gimbals don't tell Macy's. If I told you that trick, you'd be working for the company and I'd be fired.
I doubt it.
Is this another play?
Yes. Well, I don't know. There's go over it lightly. Before that, 12 years old, and she's been doing it ever since. You can just go to a rock shop and you can get you.
Well, in the town, the people are very close, and I have a lot of friends and family, relatives, and we called last night, and people told us that the town's just in turmoil. They just can't believe it, and there are banners all over, and someone told me that the mayor had declared this National Melissa Day in Clarion, whatever that is. So I think everybody's as excited as I am. Thank you.
Y'all want to check this out?
This happens every now and then.
Yes.
But we're very close friends. We're not only mother and daughter, but we're good.
Oh, I think every young girl does. As a small child, I think people watch the Miss America and the Miss Teenage America pageants, and they just think how glamorous it is. And then
Is it glamorous?
I think it is. You don't realize what's going on around you, and it doesn't strike you for a while, but when it does, it's exciting.
Friends, too. No problems.
What were your thoughts when they got down to finalists, the two finalists?
Your mind almost comes to a blank. You're just thinking about nothing.
Next to doing an interview with you, I don't know if they are or not. Well, not necessarily, but if they don't, all they will see is my glasses.
Provide any reliable information about illegitimacy.
Yeah, because we can't hold mass there. But
Why can't you? I don't understand. I've never been to a mass.
There's some indication that the birth rate is slightly on the decrease right now because of the whole tendency to recommend two-child family rather than a larger family. This is going to have some effect on the birth rate, but the fact that
unwed mothers are increasing, though, aren't they?
well, in numbers, yes, but I think the percentage holds pretty steady from one year to the other. Approximately 10% of the live birth rate, at least in Texas.
The city of Fort Worth is not desirous to renew the contract How much are they subsidizing?
This thing's been a real headache to them, hasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Started like.
The problem being,
The funds for the purchase of this equipment.
1964 check. We propose in here that 2 persons be hired as collectors.
Support. I see here is precinct 3. You've got Greg Ryan, Alden City, Richmond Hills, North Richmond Hills, and Hurt.
Colleyville and Bedford.
Colleyville and Bedford, all of them. In fact, there's no, it's really not the 2 cities that show any interest. White Settlement and who's one of
White Settlement, Ben.
About 10 miles southeast of U.S. Highway 67.
recess.
So recess. Authorizing contract between. Oh.
To the first desk. That young man told me he had come in and he was sorry he had missed me, but he couldn't give me any information. Again, I asked who could tell me what became of the 3 children, and he said,
or the energy to get as involved in these things, I think I ought to, you know.
I know they put them up.
I really wish I could. I don't know.
Is any of the news media going to look into this thing?
Well, the Star Telegram, you know, had a run at it, and what good did it do, so I don't know.
Well,
County clerk here.
Any action on hit on the high point?
Well, what we're recommending here basically is that all car allowances remain the same, and then we're recommending that people who are on a car allowance who get county gas
sound, sensible business approach to the problem.
What do you suppose these people were when you really needed them before the election? Thank you. I'll come talk to you in a second.
Tim Curry is a young man of great promise, and it is my high honor and privilege to be here this morning at his invitation to administer to him the constitutional oath of office. If you'll step forward, I'll do that. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Tim Curry,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear you first for being here this morning. A long time since February.
Now you're here. You're not desired.
It was a distinguished company who gathered in the central jury room at 7:45 this morning. Among those on the program were Bar Association President Tom Cave, who urged Curry to never lose sight of the need to temper justice with mercy, and presiding Judge John Onion of the Court of Criminal Appeals in Austin, who praised Tim as a man whose reputation was already well known across the state of Texas. Following the ceremonies, Curry spoke briefly, swore in some 75 members of his staff, and promised to be a full-time district attorney. As he prepared to leave to go to his office, Curry commented, "We've got exactly 104 weeks and 4 days to do what we came to do. And I promise you we're going to work hard at it." Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News, reporting.
Have not been properly nominated. That's my feeling in view of the action of council.
Each of the have to leave that to the decision of the body for the quadrennial for a period of 4 years. These are the nominations for the annual conference of all the annual conference council board.
I'm not really sure about that.
Seems like it would be.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
See, the city, of course, the thing.
For Texas Transit, the new city ordinance spelled a possible end to about $30,000 a year in charter business, which is nothing compared with that of the Dallas transit system. Last year, DTS brought in almost $1.5 million through its charters. But when your fleet is only 12 buses, $30,000 means a lot. And that figure could be even more this year if the present trend continues. In the 2 months since the City Council passed the new ordinance, charter business for Texas Transit has gone up about 4 times. Company officials say the reason for this is a public backlash and free advertising in the form of news media accounts of the controversy. Many of the calls Texas Transit now gets for charter runs are from people who say they want to support the little guy, the so-called underdog. It appears, though, the increased charter business for Texas Transit is in jeopardy, since city officials say the delay in enforcement of the new city ordinance on bus charters is about over. In fact, Utilities Director Tom Taylor tells me enforcement proceedings will be initiated within the next several days. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
I talked to Diana Kingston recently, a Dallasite who thinks taxpayers shouldn't maintain the Zell's Corporation fountain in Diamond Park.
I feel that most of the people here in Dallas think that it does belong to the Zell Corporation. Since the land doesn't belong to them, they aren't paying taxes on it. And since it was a gift to the city, they have used it as a tax write-off. Now the city is taking up the maintenance of this and having to pay this. I know that other corporations have fountains and areas around their buildings that they keep themselves. If we if they're going to do that, why can't I give the city my front yard and have them keep it up?
The City of Dallas doesn't feel the maintenance of this fountain is a waste of taxpayers' money. The Parks Department says the Zale Corporation invested considerable money in planning and developing this tract of land. When the fountain is turned on, the end result is an attractive oasis in the somewhat drab atmosphere of this drainage canal industrial area. The Park and Recreation Department claims to have received many favorable comments from motorists on Diamond Park. If you have any problems or questions, please write me at Contact 8 Communications Center, Dallas. That's Contact 8. I'm Cecile Burant.
Well, of course, we don't know enough about it yet to discuss it. We are particularly interested, Jim, since we have some $500,000 involved in this program. As you well know, for many years I've contended that where you have federal funds and you have not too much control, you're going to have problems. Although I have a great deal of confidence in the chairman of this board and the members of the board.
Would that be Jerry Gilmore?
Jerry Gilmore and other members of the board. They're outstanding people. It may be that this thing's going to have to be brought a little closer to the county government.
By that, do you mean the Commissioner's Court may have to get involved?
The Commissioner's Court may have to get involved since we have some $500,000 involved, taxpayers' money. Yeah.
Mrs. Lena Pope came back to court today, trying, in spite of repeated admonitions by commissioners that they are powerless to help, to get something done to correct what she still regards as serious ills in the operation of the children's home, which bears her name but no longer meets her idea of how it should be operated. After the court session, Commissioner Dick Anderson stopped me as I was leaving to tell me he is impressed by the deep and continuing concern shown by so many people and that he's going to be looking into the situation. Also on the agenda today was the demise of the Little Red gas pump, that infamous fount from which has long flowed taxpayer-purchased gasoline into cars where most agreed it didn't belong. County Auditor Jack Benson says the new plan will restrict severely the use of the pump and that people who get gasoline allowances from Tarrant County will get 3 cents per mile reimbursement. Members of the court were elated by that action. Good-looking suit you got on here.
Yeah, I look good in cheap clothes, you know.
I just want to get your impression of the Little Red gas pump thing now that it's finally over. If you could give me one sentence.
Jerry, I'm, of course, delighted that we've gotten to this stage of the county functions, and I've always maintained that this Little Red gas pump was abused.
Dick Anderson recently survived a rather close re-election campaign. I asked him why the court hadn't taken this tax-saving effort back when he needed something to campaign about. Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
this is a type of occupation that I like, and I don't know anything else. I've been in the oil field ever since I got out of high school, and this is the type of work that I like.
Even on days like this where you had an inch of snow yesterday and it's about, 25 degrees when you come out here this morning with ice all over the rig?
Well, that's just one of those things. In this part of the country, you got to expect it.
There has come to be general agreement that the United States is going to be facing an energy crisis sometime soon. There's not agreement on just what the answer to that energy crisis is. It probably is going to mean higher prices for us that have to buy the fuels. It may even mean higher taxes, too, in the long run. But Lone Star Gas is betting about $5 million on Big Bertha here that at least part of the answer to that energy crisis is drilling about 6 miles down into the middle of the earth, looking for those sources of fuel. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News on the Move in western Oklahoma.
Well, it'll definitely have an effect for a little while as far as the availability of heroin on the street. I don't think it'll dry it up by any means, but for a few days at least, it'll have an effect on what's available to the addicts.
Why will this apparently have such a little effect then?
Well, because this is only one supplier. There are several other suppliers out there who are capable of doing the same thing and who are doing the same thing. And in my opinion, anytime you have a demand for something, somebody's going to supply it. So we haven't dried up Dallas by any means.
Well, I think we'll just have to try to get the people in as we did in the past. I don't see any direct relationship between the All-Volunteer Army and ROTC, except still trying to attract good people to go into the program.
That doesn't sound very much. It might not sound very much. What would you say to that?
Well, I don't know what constitutes an epidemic, but it's been estimated in Dallas that we have anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 addicts, so that kind of gives you an idea of our problem.
Keep on talking.
Oh, okay.
That's not even recording. How long have you been with the department? Just anything we're talking about?
I've been with the department about 17.
They said, give me that bag.
You go behind the counter and get it, or you handed it to him?
I handed him the bag. Then he went behind the counter.
The demand is great in Dallas, and as most other cities our size. How great, we're not real sure, but we know that it is a great demand for heroin. We know that there are a large number of addicts out there who have to have it.
TCU's been extremely tough for SMU through the years, and one of the first things Coach Matty Bell told me when I came to SMU in 1962 that SMU had defeated TCU, had not defeated TCU in Fort Worth since 1945, even with Kyle Rote and Doak Walker and Don Meredith and other great players. They did have a tie one year, I believe 19-19, but we did defeat them in 66. It took a championship team to do it. We defeated them in 68. It took a Bluebonnet Bowl victory team to do that, and the last time we played them over there, they fired their coach on Wednesday, and the Frogs were pretty emotional because they liked Coach Fred Taylor, and we lost the ball game. So it seems like something always happens in Fort Worth.
The basic thing is you got to have the equipment that will handle the type of casings and drill pipe. All your drilling equipment has to be larger. And of course, our rig is one of its same kind. There's not any similar to it. This is the largest land rig in the world, and that's what you got to have to drill these deep holes.
James Freeman of Dallas wants to know when the city is going to do something about smog produced by jets at Love Field. Mr. Freeman says the jets burn some kind of kerosene-based fuel which causes a brown haze over Love Field on certain days. The Federal Clean Air Act charges the Environmental Protection Agency with responsibility of controlling airplane engine emissions. The agency has set up new regulations for engine emissions, and airplane companies must be in compliance with phases of these regulations by 1973, 75, and 76. The city of Dallas has incorporated these federal regulations into its own local clean air ordinance and is now working on a plan for enforcing this ordinance. The Dallas Air Pollution Control Agency says some airlines have already developed special equipment for their jet engines, thereby correcting part of the pollution problem. If you have any problems or questions, please call me at Contact 8, Communications Center, Dallas. That's Contact 8. I'm Cecile Burant.
Oh, watch out. Hold on, Fanny. Hold on. Don't swing it now. Hold on.